All right, welcome back to Buffalo Plus, an emergency press conference. Mike Catalana, I'm Jenna Cottrell. There's Dan Fates. There's two versions of Dan Fates we're going to get today. But we're doing this because the Bills signing former Saints wide receiver / returner DeOnte HARTY. He's expected to sign a 2-year, $13.5 million deal with the Bills. All right, but before we like, comment, subscribe. All right, you can't mess up the flow.
I did it silently.
Max deal with the Bills.
Yeah, it says max. You got to tell me this max part of it. Is it based on his years? I mean, I don't get. I've never seen that referenced as a max deal.
Either way, he gets $9.5 million base, $5 million fully guaranteed. All right, I don't know. That's interesting. Mike.
All right, let's start with
initial
this.
Thoughts.
When you look the guy up, you'll see his name is Harris. He didn't play. He played limited last year because he had turf toe and missed the rest of the season, which is an injury that can be debilitating for players. And so you see them not come back as quickly. So you'll see his name is Harris. That gets confusing to people. He changed his name legally to Harty with a T because he's honoring his stepfather, who was a big part of his life. So that's the guy they're getting. He's small. He's fast. There are upside things. There are downside things with the guy. I think it's pretty obvious why the Bills brought him in, because he's fast and he actually can catch the ball and run with it. Now, there have been issues. He hasn't been the healthiest guy. He also fumbles the ball. So there are issues. But the Bills went out to find speed, and Dan, they paid for it too, because that's a substantial amount of guaranteed money for a guy who didn't play last year and hasn't really been an established wide receiver in the league.
All right, so this deal comes out. Schefter tweets it. I'm very confused. I'm very confused when this deal comes out. One, for the size of money, and we also have to take a timeout there. Our good friend Joe Biscaglia of The Athletic does point out, well, shout out Joe B, that these are agents saying numbers. These are the agents telling everybody, look at how much I got my client. And so let's wait until we actually see what the deal is.
Right.
But Jenna joked around at the start of this video that there's two Dans. I was very confused. I hated the signing. And we were in our side group text. I am feverishly texting them back and forth going, I just don't like this.
And I want to point out that this was within minutes of it coming out.
Yes. like you talk about it, it's good because that was about 30 minutes ago as we record this at like 11 o'clock. So I have tempered. I have tried to be, as I know a lot of people in the comments don't like this, but I am trying to be level-headed on this one. I don't like it for the sense of, I think we have learned that the slot position in this Bills offense is very important. As we've kind of seen last year where they struggled. This is an unproven, injury-prone player that the Bills are taking a chance on. And if you were to look up, Deontay Harris, some of his highlights on Twitter, he is explosive as they come. Has caught some deep passes, very good punt returner. I'm confused as to how many punt returners the Bills possibly need on this roster because, like we said, as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's a cheap deal, and the Bills still need other positions that I think are bigger holes to fill. So that was my initial reaction of, also, like Mike pointed out, he has 64 catches in his career. He has 15 rushing attempts in his career, 79 touches. He has fumbled the ball 9 times. And I don't want to be fumble guy. I don't want to be that. That's not what I want to be in my life. But that's a lot of fumbles. That's a lot of fumbles. That's a concern.
Yeah. Well, I was on jury duty, so I didn't see this, and I'm getting caught up. And I called Dan on my way back, and we're discussing it. And I was like, "Well, how many touchdowns does he have, Dan? How many? 4?
4, and I think he has 2 return touchdowns. He was an All-Pro in 2019 as a rookie. He's out of Division II Assumption, played Division II, where he was an All-Pro, led the league in punt return yards in 2019. He was first team All-Pro.
Okay. No, I mean, I think this is a situation where It's obviously a lot of money, and that is what kind of raises your eyebrows. And you look at a player who you kind of have to Google to see more what's about, what's their strengths, what their weaknesses are. I think the Bills have been looking for a guy that has that speed. Um, Obviously, the injury history is concerning, but I think sometimes like I think of when the Bills signed like Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde and some of these players. Now that's on the defensive side of the ball, but like, okay, when that first happened, we didn't know what to expect. And then these guys became who they are now today. But at the same point, I'm just surprised because we are in the free agency period. You think of a big splash, you think of paying good money, you think it's a name that you're at least a little bit more well adjusted to hearing. And that's the thing that I'm kind of surprised by, Mike, because
Yeah.
especially considering what when you talk about in terms of the offense, like the slot we've realized is a really important position for Josh Allen. And that's a guy that, Allen can look to kind of being that safety blanket. And I'm just surprised it's
Yeah.
maybe not more of a well-known guy.
Yeah. It's not me on the well-known thing. You're paying this guy for what he's going to do for you, not what he's already done. He
Hopefully
played with
going to do.
lousy quarterback play in
I
New
mean, the
Orleans since
injuries
Breeze was gone.
though.
No, hear me out. This is what they're signing him for. And I don't think he's solely a slot guy anyhow. I mean, he plays on the outside too, even with his speed. He can get down the field and catch the ball. Look, if they were only paying a guy based on what he's done, I don't know if you'd sign the guy. Like, this is them projecting what this guy can be.
Mhm.
This is absolutely on the offensive coordinator. It's absolutely on him. He did not do a good job last year with Nyheim Hines and figuring a way to get him involved. Some of that might be on Hines. I don't know. This guy comes with, good reviews as to what type of guy he is, what type of player is, the same kind of thing behind. You got to figure out how to use him right. I'll put it to you this way. If the Kansas City Chiefs would have signed him, you'd be scared to death because they know how to use speed. They know how to get guys on the field.
Yeah.
If it was Mecole Hardman that they signed with that speed, you've already seen him excel, and I think you'd feel better. They're taking a flyer here. There's absolutely the case. But I think they are looking for that type of player to catch the ball and actually make a play. And Dan tweeted out one of those plays. It looks so foreign to Bills fans because you don't see run after catch. And that word, yak, that they use, I know it's one of Jenna's favorite words. That word that they use is something they just don't have. They haven't gotten from anybody. So my eyes are open to this to say, okay, this is what you're giving us. I'm not going to downgrade the guy on the fact that he played in a lousy offense with bad quarterback play the last year plus. He did have Drew Brees before that in his last year.
He's all right.
But I'm also going to say, well, and he made some plays when he played, and again, with not top quality quarterback play. But now you're going to try to put him out on the field with Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis and another player they're going to bring in because they still need more wide receivers. So I think it's early. I think the money has people worked up, and I get that. My guess is there was competition for him because otherwise you could have probably signed him for less.
Yeah.
So, this isn't a debilitating cap hit, but it might cost you another player, the guaranteed money says this guy's going to be on the roster for 2 years, at least most of the case. And I would say the chances of Isaiah being on the roster by the time the season starts are probably not good. I think his dead cap hit is relatively small. Doesn't mean he doesn't at camp. I don't know, but I would say that it's that kind of guy who probably goes.
All right. Yeah. The dead cap hit, they can save like around $2 million by letting go of McKenzie. And I'll start with that because a lot of people are saying like, this is the upgrade from McKenzie. And I do believe that Harty's skill set has a higher ceiling than McKenzie. I don't really think that that's too much of a question. But to that point, the devil you know is sometimes better than the devil you don't.
Nah, I don't buy that.
And I do. And you want to know what? And part of this is because I love Isaiah McKenzie as a person. Like, I'll go there with this. Like, I don't put McKenzie was ascending under Brian Dable. And I thought, again, I'm not trying to make this Dable thing, but like Mike brings up Dorsey. Like,
yeah.
This is a very similar guy to Isaiah McKenzie, and you couldn't get Isaiah McKenzie involved in this offense, really. And so the thought that, oh, well, now that this guy's here, now Now they'll use the small slot, speedy wide receiver.
Yeah,
And
I think he lines up on the outside way more than McKenzie did. I think he's faster, as fast or faster than McKenzie. And I I think they're similar. I don't think they're the same. But again,
I'm swinging.
I'm not buying the devil you know. McKenzie failed in his role last year, and some of that is on, and I love Isaiah, but some of that is on Dorsey. Some of that's on McKenzie. He had plenty of opportunities and didn't come through for them in different roles. So they obviously weren't happy with the way he played. I mean, Cole Beasley was getting snaps in the slot.
That's fair.
They're rolling the dice. Here's
And
what I
that's
would
why
say to you. Here's what I would say to you. Take $2 million off the guaranteed money. You feel
different.
better about the signing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So if that's the case, if he's not effective, then you wasted money. If he is, you're not going to care. That's kind of the way I look at it. It's not, that's why I say it's not debilitating cap money, but every couple million makes a difference. And they're rolling the dice here with has not had that many, has not had that much success as a pass catcher.
Jenna, remember how I was saying I've calmed down? I'm getting worked up again, upset about it after hearing Mike try and calm me down into being
I'm calming you down because you're going to say, just stay with Isaiah. I mean, come on. I'm not saying, and believe me, they need to bring in another receiver. This doesn't end anything.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I guess part of this is my lack of faith in Dorsey being able to use this.
That's very fair.
And that I guess and again, if a lot of people, and Mike, you said you're listening to some guys on GR talking from the Saints that said that he's a proven route runner. I'm going to call BS on that. How proven of a route runner can you be if in 4 years you've caught 64 passes? I'm not saying he doesn't have potential to do it, but to sit here and say, oh, he's a great route runner.
Well, they didn't say great route runner. They were saying he's a polished route runner when he's gotten his opportunities. And he did put up decent numbers one of the seasons. And
is that the 36 catch season?
Yeah, but I mean, again, in a limited role with that team. I mean, that does happen sometimes with guys, and they have to, prove their way on the field. And it didn't happen.
So not snarky. I'm holding all my snark in.
I just don't see. I think we live in a world of outrage. We haven't seen this guy on the field. We haven't seen him with the Bills. And I'm saying I'm with you 100% that it's on Dorsey to find ways to use him. I'm just happy that there's a guy who can catch the ball and run with it after he catches it. And maybe he does that in this offense because they certainly haven't had that.
I feel like that just proves how desperate they are for that too. The way they're willing to throw this much money, take a flyer on a guy that has had injuries, things like that. And let's be real, the offense is desperate for that because that has been a huge thing this team has struggled with. I don't know. I feel like I'm surprised by the numbers of it. And the injury concerns, that is something that I take a step back at.
Yeah, the good news is it's turf toe. It wasn't a knee, which again is really bad in the moment. I mean, guys recover from turf toe. It just takes a while.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But the fact that there's been multiple things like that where
he's 5'6", 170 pounds.
I am 3 inches taller than him. That's crazy. That's wild.
And I came on here and I go, I know so many people in the comments, Dan's so negative. Oh, cut Dan's mic out. It's better when it's just Mike and Jenna, all these things. And I was like, you know what? I watched some of the things. I talked to another person that is an all 22 guy. And he kind of talked me down a little bit. And I was like, all right, there is more versatility to his game than McKenzie's. There's a higher ceiling. There is, Mike, like you said, there is upside.
Right.
And part of that, it's the money that I'm getting upset about. And part of it is the thought that I guess it's also personally, I don't want the speedy slot guy anymore. I guess I feel like we tried that and it didn't work last year with McKenzie. Part of that's Dorsey, part of that's McKenzie. And I said this before over the last few weeks. I wanted Hunter Renfrow. I want that smart feel guy like Beasley was.
Can we take a time out here for a second? It's the first day of the new year. Okay. This is not their roster yet. They brought a guy in. They will bring other players. They're going to draft a wide receiver. Like, I get that but we're analyzing this to some extent. Like, this is it. They're running Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, this guy
At
out
this
there.
money, he better be starting.
Well,
That's I agree
Yeah.
with
You're going
Dan.
to sign this guy to be get 30 snaps,
no, he'll get
30
more.
catches a season.
I'm saying is when you have the speed and the guy has played on the outside, you have opportunities to use him, which is why I said it's on the coordinator
Yeah.
to find ways to use him with that speed.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying to you is, but you can't just assume that they're going to go out with these three guys. I mean, they're going to have to they need wide receivers on the roster. I think they're drafting one, and I still think they're drafting one relatively early.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
So that's the point. I'm not saying that you can't criticize this individually at the moment, what he has done and what he brings. But
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
for this price tag, the thought of another guy that will bring him in as a returner, and then he'll play
I don't even
12
think he's going to
snaps.
return. I don't think he's a return guy. I think Hines is the return guy. And by the way, who's all these punt returners they have?
Well, they have McKenzie on the roster still right now.
Yeah, I think he's going to be off the roster.
Okay, I'm just saying currently.
And so then they have Hines.
And now him. And we all know that Micah Hyde catches every single important punt. Mike,
Well,
I guess I'm just saying the fact is that, like, when they signed Connor McGovern, we were like, okay, he's going to compete for a spot. Like, he's going to add in depth. At this money, at this thing, I don't think this should be a depth signing. I think depth signings are a couple $1 million.
I'm not calling him a depth signing. I mean, you're going to play wide receivers in this offense. I'm saying is they're going to bring another wide receiver in.
I agree.
I am just surprised by the price tag. That is something
And
that's
we do have to wait and see. Like you said, we do have to wait and see.
Yeah.
What's today's date, Jenna? March 15th.
Mike, you want to go double or nothing on the coffee? He returns punts.
How many punts? Like he's
the number one guy. When the depth chart, he will be punt returner number one ahead of Hines this season.
No.
Okay, so coffee bet? Double or nothing?
Sure. I was going to get you some lousy gas station coffee anyhow.
Yeah, I saw that
Edmund steak.
That was kind of funny though.
Well, maybe we do it up to a bottle of bourbon if we want to get like real frisky with it.
Oh, wait a minute. But we would need some real definition to what number one returner is. Like Hines has a sprained knee and isn't in the first game. You're not getting bourbon for that.
So you're worried about Hines being injured, where the other guy that I'm rooting for is the injury-prone one. Oh, Mike, you got me. Oh, I was so calm. You guys came on here like Dan's all fired up, and I was like, I'm good.
I mean, Michael is also fired up.
I am saying to you that I'm happy that there's someone who can catch the ball and run with it. Okay. And I'm not happy that there's more money, that there's more money than I would have thought he warranted. But to your point, let's see what the actual numbers are. Let's see what they do with other money. Besides the fact, Jenna, the salary cap isn't real.
Agreed.
No,
it doesn't mean there aren't bad contracts.
There could be.
That's fair.
Both can be true.
Let me tell you something. If the little guy with the fat face was running the offense now, you'd love it.
But you would have way more confidence in his ability to use players.
Which is why I started out by saying it's not the player, it's the guy calling the plays.
You're right. You did say
That's what I'm worried about.
Man, if they do all this for Dorsey and it fails again, like...
Well, yeah, they still got a lot more work to do. Connor McGovern and DeONTE HARTY are steps towards getting speed and better offensive line play.
Agreed.
Brandon Beane's got work to do.
Yeah.
He's got work to do.
No, I get it.
And from what I'm hearing too, the Bills are interested in the free agent market, in linebackers and safeties. Again, at the time of this taping, Jordan Poyer has not signed anywhere. maybe the market isn't as hot on a 31-year-old safety as we may have imagined. But again, a source says that they are, I checked in and the source said that they are interested in linebackers. So obviously the Tyrell Dodson re-signing isn't the only linebacker that they're going to bring in, obviously, as well as still addressing the safety position. So I know some people are going, we're going to address the defense. There's holes in the defense. Yeah. From what I hear, they are interested. They are in conversations about that position.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Bean doing his due diligence. There's still plenty
Yeah.
of ways to build a roster, but obviously I think for Bills fans, when you see the price tag that comes with this guy, you just expected maybe a little bit more production, maybe a
Yes.
little bit more time on the field. He is, what is he, 25?
24. Hang on one second. I have his thing up. 5. You're right.
25. Okay.
Well, he
He's
comes
young.
out of Assumption, so
he's like Tremaine Edmonds young.
He's that underdog,
yes. Chip
I
on his
wonder if
shoulder.
there's a personal connection there somehow. Like I truly wonder
if he wrestled. Do we wonder if he wrestled in high school?
Something like that. Look that up, I swear.
It's perfect that a guy Dan jumped all over comes from a place called Assumption.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought of that.
By the way, you want Darius Slay? The Eagles are cutting him.
I
if you
saw
want a
that
corner.
as well. Schefter just reported
See,
that.
these contracts are written in pencil. It's just like, yeah, we're just going to cut the guy. Yeah, 32. Not a big market for those kind of corners, but he'll get signed by somebody cheap. So, yeah.
I'm trying to find if there's any wrestling.
Oh,
what are you looking for?
Michael.
I should have gotten you that coffee for today. You could have used it. Or maybe
your vacation, Mike.
Yes.
Michael is fired up though. I can feel it. You are.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be.
Can we get a Buffalo Plus video while you're on the beach in Aruba?
Oh, there's an opportunity for some video conferencing because it's so funny that people say when I go out I do what I want on vacation. Jenny
You're addicted
does.
to the content game. We're addicted to the content game.
But then it's like you think I go. I'm with a couple of my buddies who are all into it. By the way, they're both Packers fans who are detoxing from whack job quarterback who the Bills are going to see twice a year. So that's going to be an interesting time. They're on the trip with us, but I don't sit there all day, but I absolutely, you sit back, and you take a look. So we'll see what they do. I'll keep an eye on. I'll keep an eye on Bean. By the way, Bean's never been a guy to overspend on players.
No.
Nope. This isn't, if it is based on position and his track record, it would be an overspend on who he is. I would say based on who he is and what he's done. And that's a rarity for him, right? I'm trying to think of if you can think of a guy that they've brought in and you're like, wow, I can't believe they gave him that much. We haven't really seen that, So let's see.
Oh, interesting that McKenzie is due a roster bonus on Friday.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying.
It's just I love that. I love that guy.
So do I. He's one of my all-time favorite guys to talk to. He's great, but hey, look, blame whoever you want. He got an opportunity last year to be a contributor to the offense, and it didn't happen.
I
to the level they wanted.
30% on him.
Yeah.
But that's no secret.
Can you explain turf toe to me? I don't get it.
It's a sprain of the big toe joint.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's very painful. The players will say that there's so many other injuries they can work around. That's when they just can't.
Hands and feet are like the worst. I guess ankle too, but like those ones are just nagging. It's hard to the fine twitch, quick twitch muscles and stuff is tough. So
yeah,
and it lingers. It takes forever to heal.
I remember Zach Moss had it a couple years ago. obviously before he was traded, but
Yeah.
okay.
All
He
right.
did not wrestle in high school.
No, really?
No, he ran track.
Hey, the Bills could go get J.D. McKissick, right? I think the Commanders.
I'm not gonna lie, I saw that yesterday.
Well, they need some returners. Maybe he could do that for him.
He's not going to return, Mike. So you're right. They need another returner
Telling you,
because
Hines, #1 returner.
no chance.
I don't know.
Love getting him fired up.
You were fired up too, though.
Yeah, but I'm trying to be the rational one. I'm not going to get too worked up over it. It's just like with you guys. When you guys get an extra couple million, that's good. Good for you. You know?
That's what I'm working on.
I think I was like a comment in who was the rational one on this video, Mike or I.
Well, you admitted that you freaked out within a minute of the signing. Then you were talked back down by someone who actually watched the tape. Then you admitted that you were confused because you didn't know he changed his name.
Well, okay, easy. I Googled him and nothing came up. And everybody's talking about how fast he was.
I kept Googling him.
And the other
came up
Hardy
with
ran
this
like
guy
a
Harris.
4.5. Yeah.
And I was like, there can't be a guy Deonthe Harris and Deonthe Hardy. So
what do you mean?
There's
two Connor McGoverns.
It was the same guy. Like he's playing for the Saints, and it's Deonthe Harris, Deonthe Hardy. And I'm looking, I'm going, it's number 11. Like, did they bring in another Deonthe to wear number 11 to play the same position? And I'm like, and then I'm thinking, did I say his name wrong? And then I found it. But I was rational the whole time I was doing it.
Totally.
Comment snarky.
All right.
All right, yeah. Comment in on what you think. And please be sure to subscribe if you enjoy our content.
God, Jenna, when I'm on vacation, I'll try my best, but who's going to keep him under wraps?
I mean,
that's your job.
Holding fates accountable.
I was just say, I don't think it's a 2-person job.
It is.
Real. I know. I expect you to be zooming in though, knowing you. Are you bringing a laptop? I hope you're not.
Oh yeah, I always have a laptop. First of all, I have it on the plane. Oh, I'm totally relaxed. Like, believe me, Vacation Mike is relaxed, but I have my moments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
There we go.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll get the more final... I was about to say, we'll get the more final terms of the coffee.
Yeah,
bet.
4 o'clock. Yes. Oh, and 4 o'clock today is maybe when we'll know the numbers when they announce the signing. Spot Track's a good place to check that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we'll
also, congrats to Matt Beauvais.
Yes.
WKBW, him and his wife.
Girl dad.
Girl dad.
Another girl dad. There we go.
Very happy for them.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you all for joining us. We will catch you next time here on Buffalo Plus. For Mike and Dan, I am Jenna. Thanks for tuning in.